good evening, my dear Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
Warm welcome on this cold evening.
Thank you.
I am the Sergeant at Arms, Toastmaster Sai Deepa, welcoming you all to another enthralling meeting. So before we start, let me remind you all about a few guidelines which can help make this meeting even more exciting. Please do not walk around or move around when someone is speaking, as it might upset the rhythm of the speaker. Words are sharper than swords, so please choose your words carefully in order to not affect the sentiments of the audience. Ringing or buzzing mobiles can be one more distraction, so I request you all to please put your phones on silent. And after each session, you will get a link for voting. I request you all to please vote for your favorite role takers. So the theme for today's meeting is, it takes two to tango. When Minot calmly made his debut in 1993, he literally set the world on fire. He played breathtaking shots all around the wicket. And he even scored consecutive double centuries at one point. But then international bowlers found out his weakness against short pitch bowling. He began getting out cheaply at regular occasions. Sachin Tendulkar, who was the captain at that time, tried to help his cause by giving him multiple opportunities. He even tried to shuffle him across the order to see if he can somehow bring out his talent. But Kamli did not put in the required efforts, and finally he was dropped from the team for good. Sometimes you can do everything to help someone's cause, but unless the efforts are there from both sides, then you will not be able to get a successful result. Now the next person to come on stage, she tells me that as a child, she used to mainly dance to two songs. One is Michael Jackson's Beat It, and the second is Stevie's I Just Called to Say I Love You. But now you cannot get her to shake a muzzle. Without any further delay, please put your hands together for Toastmaster Hannah Victoria.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sai Deepa, for that wonderful introduction. As he said, while growing up, it was so easy without a care in the world to dance. And now all I can do is just maybe shake my knees max. So much for growing up. A very good evening, my dear fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests.
Good evening.
I now declare meeting number 1352 open. How many of you are first-time guests here? First-time guests. Okay, great. Any one of you could please rise and tell your name and what brings you to the Bangalore Toastmasters Club?
Hi, my name is Vikas, Danya's husband. So coming to support her, it's her first opening, I guess, icebreaker speech. So we get her.
Great. Thank you so much. Members, what do we do to our guests? Today is a very special meeting. We have 4 speakers, and all the 4 we are going to learn much more about them. They are our new members. So it is an icebreaker session this week. The youngest billionaire of 2021, Nikhil Kamath, when he was asked, what are the skills needed to be successful? So he said, there are 2 skills which are needed either in a job or being an entrepreneur. One is the ability to sell, and the second is the ability to communicate. He says, on the internet now, information is available, so there's no point in you mugging up and then regurgitating it on stage or communicating it. But the key lies in interpreting it correctly or to your perspective and then communicating it well. So guests, so you are at the right place at the right time to learn more about communication and public speaking skills. More about Toastmasters from our Vice President membership, Toastmaster Surekha. You can meet her after the meeting and she will tell you. The minutes of the meeting 1351 were sent on WhatsApp. There were a few corrections and that was taken as well and circulated. Any more amendments to that minutes of the meeting? Shall I consider it as passed?
Yes.
I pass minutes of the meeting 1351. Tango. In the dance tango, there is a leader and a follower. The leader takes the initiative to show the partner the moves and the steps, but it is up to the follower to decide how he or she moves in line with what the leader says. They both work in harmony and connection all through the dance. Tango is something like the yin and yin. They both have a little bit of each other, both the leader and the follower, a little bit of each other within them. It is said that tango is a collaborative dance. It encourages 4 aspects, that is being trusting, then being respectful, the third is being having clarity, and the 4th is sensitivity. In the business world, two people who I would think are performing a great tango are 2 brothers, Nikhil and Nitin Kamath. Yes, this is of the Zerodha company. They are India's largest stock trading company. And when you listen to the interviews, what is fascinating about them is that these 4 principles is what most of what they speak about. They respect, they have that sensitivity, and they trust each other. All his interviews, both of them, I've seen maybe around 6 to 7 interviews. They value that core team of theirs so much. They attribute their success, much of their success, to that team. And some of the core team is of the people who they have started way back, maybe 17 years back when Nitin was at that call center 24/7. So not only did they grow, they took on people with them and they still have them in top positions. And another thing about them is they're so absolutely modest with their wealth and how they've created that wealth. And it's just, it's a great example of a tango which I feel, and that tango is so brilliant to watch, and it has got them to be billionaires. Moving on to today's meeting, I'd like to introduce to you the Toastmaster of today, or the MC. He will run through the meeting, he will string the meeting for you. This is a young Toastmaster. He's been in Toastmasters for the last couple of 3 months, and he's also very young. He's a resident entrepreneur in a B2B marketing tech company called Data Hash. He says he has been a key executive in companies like Maverick and Edelweiss. He says that his friends they know him as a person who would do his tasks as larger than life. And I would endorse that fact, because when he came up to give his icebreaker speech, how many of you were there when he gave his icebreaker speech? Okay, great. Okay. Do you recall, he mentioned 3 people who he was influenced by. Any guesses, any ideas to who he was?
Jack Dorsey.
Jack Dorsey. rosterisky. And to be honest, that was the first time I've also heard, and then I googled him out today to check what he was. So creatively he did his introduction. So please join me to welcome Toastmaster Aditya Srivastava.
Good evening, Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
I welcome you all to meeting number 1352. The theme for today's session is It Takes Two to Tango. While the Sergeant at Arms and President Hannah were kind enough to talk about their individual experiences with the theme, I would like to tell about a little bit basic meaning of it. For those of you who don't know, this is a limerick, It Takes Two to Tango, and it means that both the parties are equally responsible for a particular argument or a situation that they are in. While this might seem like a simple sentence to you, this line has a major impact on my own life. How so? I'll tell you why. I struggled with mathematics ever since nursery all the way till 12th and even today. Right? Honestly, I wanted to let mathematics go in my 11th standard. I worked hard, I loved biology, I did even take it. But my dad, he comes from a mathematics background. He's a PhD in applied mathematics, and he did not want me to let go of maths altogether. And what it did is, it made me choose what is optional? Maths. So yes, I'm a PCBA victim. Now, I always inspired of becoming a medic for the Indian Army, wanted to go to FMC Pune. Weirdly so, I wasn't able to pass the exam. But luckily, I did get an admission into a government engineering college. And now I had two options. Either I can take a drop with PCBM, does it even sound like a choice? Not for me. I ended up going to engineering with all my hopes and aspirations, but they were shunned in my very first year when I failed, obviously what? Mathematics. I went back home, I spoke to my dad that I can't do this. I can't do engineering, I want to explore something else. And what this particular thing led to was a lot of fights. A lot of fights. He was very ardent that you cannot let go of engineering, and I was like, I want to do something else, right? And this led to a lot of fights. But it was at this point that I got to read a particular book called The Saint, the Surfer, and the CEO. This is a book by Robin Sharma, and there's a very smart advice given in this thing which relates to tango. Now think about this. Any fight or any argument is just like tango, right? If I were to fight with you right now, we will match our words, our tonality, our pace, even our abuses, right? But think about this. If me and him are fighting or dancing, and one of us just stops, how would the other person look? Won't they look stupid, right? Would they keep on dancing, or would they stop as well? They would stop, right? And this is exactly what I did. Every time I realized that I was about to step into a fighting situation with my dad, I would just calm myself down and take a step back. This did lead to a 3 years radio silence with him, but it also gave me an opportunity to explore my avenues, and I'm very lucky that I was able to do so. A Toastmasters movement is something similar to a tango session. Do you want to know how? I'll tell you. The first unofficial meeting of Toastmasters is attributed to March 24, 1905. It is when Professor Ralph C. Smedley tried starting the movement, but it took him 2 decades. It was up until 1924 is when he was able to gather 24 men, and it was exactly on October 22nd, 1924 when the first official meeting of Toastmasters happened. And I can happily say now, almost close to a century after that first meeting, Toastmasters is not only an avenue for you to practice your speeches, but it's a movement. A movement of almost 400,000 Toastmasters across 136 countries driving this movement forward. So dear guests, what you are attending today is not a meeting, but is a movement in itself. right? A Toastmasters meeting is generally split into three major sections. The first section is called a prepared speech, in which Toastmasters go under arduous preparation of writing their own script, practicing it, and also getting it rectified with their mentors, only to deliver it on this particular platform today. Followed by the prepared speeches will be a table topic session. In a table topic session, given we have the theme It Takes Two to Tango, we can also call it like, So You Think You Can Dance. It is an extempore session where there will be a table topic master who will come with a particular topic for each of the people present over here, and every one of you will get about 2 minutes to talk about that particular topic. The idea of a table topic session is to keep your brain ready and active at all times. And if you guys were here a couple of weeks ago when Dr. Rajdeep sir took his session on how to conduct a table topic, trust me, it is an expressway between your left side of the brain and right side of the brain. Am I right, Rajdeep sir?
Yes.
Thank you. Last but not the least, the most important part of a Toastmasters meeting is an evaluation session. Because you can speak, and speak. It is only when you hear is when you learn something. We all are here to make our public speaking skills way more better, and the evaluation session ensures exactly that. An evaluation session is headed by a general evaluator, and a general evaluator is accompanied by a tag team. So guys, say hi to the tag team. We have a timer, an R counter, and a grammarian. Taking the role of timer today is a Toastmaster who was associated with this very particular BTMC group, not today, but 15 years ago as well. He works as an innovation manager at Reckitt and absolutely loves food and sports. Presenting to you all the timer for the day, Toastmaster Abhinandan. Could you please?
Good evening, everyone. As a timer, it's my duty to record the duration of each speech. I will be holding up green, yellow, and red cards to signify the end of the speech. As in, like, green card 1 minute before the end, the yellow card half a minute before the end, and the red card at the end of the allotted time. And then the bell will be rung immediately after. I'll be presenting my report at the end of the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster. Joining us today at the R counter for this meeting is a Toastmaster who hails from my own state. He is an absolute motorcycle enthusiast, so much so that after last week's meeting, a random guy waved onto me on the road, and by the time I could figure it out who it was, he zoomed past me. Guys, welcome Toastmaster Abhijit. He's the R counter.
So as a tag team member, I believe that it takes 3 to tango, and which are timer, grammarian, and myself, our counter. And as our counter, I will be listening carefully for the crutch words, usage of crutch words, and at the end of the meeting, I will present the report. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Last but not the least, the grammarian for today is a dear friend of mine, a person whom I had the privilege of getting inducted with into this particular Toastmasters group. She's 18 years old, she's an absolute nature lover, and she's a big vocationalist for human rights, if you remember her previous speech. Guys, give it a big round of applause for Toastmaster Rashi, grammarian for today.
Good evening, everyone. So, as the grammarian for today, my duty is to tell you about the word of the day. The word of today is conglomerate. Conglomerate, basically, it is a thing that consists of a number of different things or parts that are grouped together. To use it in a sentence, so the billionaire's conglomerate includes restaurants, convenience stores, and a chain of hotels. And I hope that all the speakers today try using the word of the day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Rashi. Now that all of you are aware of what a Toastmaster is, and what the session entails, it is time that we head into the very first segment called the prepared speeches. Now, as President Hannah already mentioned, that we are going to have an icebreaker bonanza for the benefit of the guests. And icebreaker is the first time ever a Toastmaster gets to take the stage and talk about themselves. And it is a Toastmaster tradition that after a particular icebreaker, they are received with a standing ovation. So a gentle reminder, as soon as the speech is over, please make sure to do a standing ovation. Now, before I introduce the speaker for the session, I would like to introduce her evaluator. He is a BTMC legend. He's also our founding member, but for me, he'll always be the person who did the knot on my tie the day I was getting inducted into this particular group. Guys, put a big round of applause for Toastmaster Robinson, sir.
Good evening, everyone present here. I only tied the knot. I didn't want to hang him. As the master ceremony said, 4 icebreakers, 4 persons are going to introduce themselves to the audience here. Apart from that, they will learn the basic structure of a public speech. The first speaker will be speaking, has chosen the path, strategic relationship path. And that person has to introduce herself within 4 to 6 minutes. Over to the master ceremonies.
Thank you, Toastmaster Robinson, sir, for those speech guidelines. The first speaker of the day is just 18 years old. She loves reading books and watching movies, especially if they are thrillers. She's recently out of school and she's exploring her opportunities in the bigger world as she heads down some adventurous pathway. I invite her today to give her icebreaker session, Toastmaster Naomi.
I come from a family of 5. I have a twin sister and an older brother. Or should I say my second dad? Because honestly, he's a cooler version of my dad. My brother is my go-to person. Every time I want something that I know my parents won't agree on, I go to him. And somehow, he always finds a way to convince them. But this does not come without terms and conditions. For the next 6 months, I have to become his personal assistant, giving him foot massages and making him the perfect cold coffee. And somehow, it always has to be at 3 in the morning. At 8 years old, I moved to a boarding school. On top of a hill, between the clouds and amongst the trees, stood a large iron gate, behind which was this old brick school. This is the place I would be calling home for the next 5 years. You might think at such a young age, being far away from home, I was nervous and scared. But for me, it was exciting. It had the mystery of the Harry Potter castle and the mystical feeling of a fairy tale. Having friends from all over the country living together in big dorms, it was the best sleepover. Hiding things under your jacket, sneaking out at midnight, putting choco pies and drizzling it with dairy milk that you waited to melt for 4 hours in the sun since you had no other option. It's where I got my first survival instinct. When I was a teenager, I moved back to Bangalore for high school. Like the Chronicles of Narnia, it was like opening a magical door to a new world, back to reality. In my old boarding school, it was strict and we had tons of rules. Every time a teacher walked past us, you would move to the side and wish them. You saw them on the staircase, vacate the entire area. In my new school, on my first day, when I saw a teacher next to me, I moved to the side. But everyone just looked at me strangely. That's when I realized such rules do not exist. Boarding school was a fun experience, but such rules not existing, it took me some time to get used. I believe that high school is a place where you make memories. From bunking classes together to conglomerating and helping each other during exam season, it was a roller coaster. And ice cream most of the times, but it was worth the ride. Now, not too long ago, when I was still a kid, I vividly remember draping my grandma's sarees around me, stealing my mom's makeup. And I put every color on my face. Pink, blue, yellow, you name it, and it's on my face. But it wasn't until a cousin of mine invited me to one of her fashion shows that I fell in love with fashion. Everything about it just fascinates me. And at that point, it was clear. This is what I wanted to do as a career. I participated in my first fashion show in high school. I learned to sew my own clothes during the lockdown, participated in events, and walked down the ramp for Fashion Week. And now, I haven't looked back. Now, how many of you all like reading books? I do. What about watching movies? Same here. Do you skip to the last page and read the plot twist? No. You watch the horror from behind the pillow, whisper through the drama, and crack up during comedy. You go through every chapter and experience it and enjoy it. Like the protagonist in my own novel, I'm experiencing life one day at a time, conquering my fears, facing my hurdles, and learning through the experience while waiting for my plot twist to happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Naomi. We all will wait for the grand reveal of the plot twist. Quickly moving forward, as we are having all the 4 speeches as icebreakers, there are no need for the guidelines to be read again. But that does not stop me from introducing my next evaluator. He again is a BTMC legend. He's been associated with this particular group for over 20 years, and in his own words, Toastmasters has given him the ability to sway the crowds and win plethora of admirers everywhere he goes. Toastmaster Richard. He'll be evaluating speech of a dear friend of mine, a BTNC speech crafts program prodigy, a person whom I absolutely adore, and someone who has specifically requested me not to introduce him because he thinks I'll steal his thunder. So, not stealing a thunder anymore, Toastmaster Park. Everybody give a big round of applause.
The temptation to quit is going to be the greatest just before you're about to succeed. Can anyone tell me here what happened in the year 26th of January 2001? The Gujarat earthquake. The earthquake which shook the entire nation and also the world. 2 days later, I shook my parents' world on the 28th of January 2001. I was an NICU baby, which also means I entered my life with a bang. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Good evening. My father, Naveen K. Nichani, is a businessman from whom I learned how to work hard, dedication and perseverance. And my mother, Priyanka Nichani, from whom I learned how to face life when life becomes hard and live up with a smile, face situations with a smile and walk ahead. I'm a big foodie and my tummy proves it all. Let me share a small instance about myself. Normally kids or babies, I may say, they would say ma or pa as their first words. My first words were dal chawal.
I often used to hide below the table and eat my favorite food. I was always a notorious and a playful kid. I had met with a small bike accident during my 8th standard. And the reason why I took the bike that day was to go and get a chocolate named Galaxy, which was my pre-exam ritual. That landed me on the bed for 3 weeks. So, that accident made me face and made me more responsible in life. Started to see things and value things in a very different perspective. I often used to look up to things in a very easygoing nature. Like I should look at things and just be like, "Hota hai, life mein kya hai?" Then, during my in my 12th standard, we had an accounts exam where I had actually scored, any guesses out of 50?
0.
1. My teacher asked me, "Why did you even write the test?" And in Hindi she quoted, "Badi meherbani ki naam likhkar." But I always loved taking challenges. So I ended up working hard that semester. Worked really hard. And during my 12th exam, board exam, guess how much did I score? I scored 100 out of 100. So the teacher comes up to me and asks me, "If you were this capable, why didn't you study for unit tests?" My reply was to her that I always like to surprise people. In 2019, I had entered college, but a very common enemy entered all our lives. Can anyone tell me what was it? COVID. Which put me in my room and made my college experience to put to a pause. And for the 2.5 years, me sitting in my room, I don't know how I passed those 5 semesters. And during the 6th semester, I got to see or experience a small trailer of what could have been my college life. I had taken up a course which every parent would decide that the child would take since the day they were born. For science students, it would be engineer, doctor. But what about the commerce students? Any guesses? CA. So in 2009, when I took up CA, I started to study hard. And I thought I would be the best CA on earth. But COVID made me, the amount of times made my exam get cancelled, I lost interest and gave up. I took up a job in a company called Cash Free Payments. I started to invest in myself. And I started to invest myself, and my father enrolled me in a course called Speech Club. Where in the first week, I missed out. I wanted to miss the course so badly that I was so feared to come on stage and talk to people. By the second week, I was like, I'm not ending up going and giving my speech club program, Toastmaster speech. But my mentor, Shashank, pushed me, forced me, and made sure I go up on stage and give the speech. And my reply to him was like, let's not be prepared, let's just go and say anything on stage. And that's how my Toastmaster journey had begun. By the end of the 8th week, I was looking forward to each and every speech. And by the time the course ended, I felt that I had no purpose on that particular Sunday after after the speech club program. I love to travel. I've traveled to various parts of the world. I've traveled to Spain, Dubai, Singapore, Malaysia, and across cities in India. I believe in the quote saying, traveling is like flirting with life. It says like, I would love to stay and love you, but I have to go. My station has arrived. But like all freshers in life, we all experience a sense of excitement and perhaps a sense of nervousness about what comes next. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Paul, for that enlightening speech. I actually have never heard that line before. Traveling is like flirting with life. I would want to look at that. Moving on to the next speech, we have Before I introduce the speaker, who's an absolute dear friend of mine, I would like to introduce her evaluator. Now, this evaluator is a Toastmaster whom I am most intrigued by. Okay, she is a technology enthusiast, and she's presently doing some experiments with cold brew, for which I would want to volunteer my tongue. And she's also a Toastmaster who once vouched on this very stage saying that she'll be reading 52 books in a year. That is one book per week in a particular year. Guys, welcome Toastmaster Chaitra as the evaluator for the next week. The speech that she'll be evaluating is by a Toastmaster who again is a prodigy from our BDMC's beloved Speechcraft program. She is a designer, an entrepreneur, and a mom of an 11-year-old girl who's sitting right there. She believes that life's beauty lies in its highs and lows. The scarier the lows, the more energizing are the highs. So sharing her highs with everybody, please welcome Toastmaster Danya.
When you stand in front of a mirror, what do you see? Do you see in yourself your parents and your ancestors? Aren't we all a continuation of them? Thank you, Toastmaster, for the introduction. A very good evening to my fellow Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
My paternal grandparents, Manikam and Kamalakshi, and my maternal grandparents, Appu and Amani, were agriculturists in Thrissur, Kerala. They had 11 and 9 children each. My dad says, those were the days when all the houses had a lot of cows, plenty of hens, and similarly, children. My grandparents ensured that all their children were equally educated to what they could afford. They were all sent to government schools. They did diplomas and ITIs or degrees from colleges. With agriculture declining in Kerala, most of the children shifted to different vocations. My father, Sugadan, moved to Chennai to teach in a central government institute. He taught in the mechanical department. While there, he married my mother, Arundhati, who has been a homemaker since. And together they had 4 children. 3 lovely daughters, of whom I am the second. And the youngest, their much-awaited son, the staff of their old age. So were the sentiments of their generation. I remember telling my parents when I was as little as 6, Amma and Achin, I will take care of you when I grow older. You don't have to pray for a son. That is not your field. I studied in a girls' school, a convent, St. Dominic's in Chennai from my 1st to the 12th. I was this happy-go-lucky child who jumped head first into everything and did pretty well for myself in academics, sports and arts. I went on to become one of the school captains and became the sports champion. In my senior school, unfortunately, my dad lost his job. And being a single breadwinner, he tried his hand in different businesses, from fabrication to running bakeries, but business was not to be his. And all of them failed. We lost all our family savings, including the gold and land. I remember when I was in the 9th, I found that my father had sold his watch to fund my trip to Munnar, my school trip that year. Until then, I had not realized the depth of my family's financial troubles. Reality hit me badly. I went into a shell and I could not communicate even with my close friends. My grades dropped. I was removed from the captainship. When I was in grade 11, something interesting happened. My school used to have arts contests annually, and every year the points would go to the winner and their respective houses, which would go towards the championship. I had stood first in the arts contest in all my school years. But that year, instead of arts, they decided to have a dress-making contest for grade 11. My favorite teacher, Miss Florence, came to me and said, "My dear Danya, this year the other houses have a chance to grab your points." I took up the challenge. I went to the market myself. I taught myself pattern making from my mom's magazines.
It was a 3-hour contest, and while all my classmates sewed garments for babies, I stitched a dress for my younger sister Navya, who was then in grade 5. It would take me longer than stitching a baby's clothes, but I wanted to make the best use of the cloth. I made this pretty black dress with a black bodice, printed floral skirt and puff sleeves. I used the pendant from my broken necklace as a jewel on the belt. Navya looked so beautiful when she wore the same dress for my school annual day, where I got the first prize for dressmaking and my house the championship. That was the foundation for me to go on and do my fashion designing from NIFT. After which I started working at the age of 20. I fulfilled the promises I made to my parents as a child by helping clear my father's debts and taking over various family responsibilities. I got married to my friend and neighbor Vikas, who's a Punjabi, and we have a daughter Anya, who's 11 years old. At work front, today I run a business called Navigator, which is a buying house for export of garments. Along with 2 other partners, we ship close to 2 million units annually. And I'm working on a project which is very close to my heart, which is about connecting artisans and Indian craft with the global fashion scene with the intent that more hands at grassroots will benefit. I have come a long way, and today my mom calls me her son. And every time I face a challenge, I remind myself that I stand tall on the shoulders of my ancestors who were once agriculturists on banks of the river Kurmali, where my ancestral home still stands. I have swam the rivers, but I still have more to go. And I will keep swimming, either with or against the currents. For I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Thank you.
My God, that was breathtaking, right? Thank you, Toastmaster Danya, for that brilliant speech. Moving into the last speech for the day, I am absolutely thrilled to introduce this evaluator. She's a BTMC sweetheart. For those of you who know, she wishes to become a CAA at BTMC, petition to open up that position, which means chef at arms. She genuinely believes that one's life is figured out by what one scatters and not gathers. I am in absolute awe of this evaluator. Please put your hands together for Toastmaster Surekha ma'am. The speech that she'll be evaluating is by yet another budding Toastmaster, a person who works as a project manager and a contractor for developing buildings. He loves food. His psyche might say otherwise, but he definitely loves food and he loves to travel. Please put up your hand together for Toastmaster Suhas.
Good evening, Toastmasters and dear guests.
Good evening.
My name is Suhas. I would like to introduce myself to you. My name is Suhas. I was born and brought up in Bangalore, and my father is a businessman and my mother is a homemaker. I was an average kid during my childhood days. I used to go out with my friends to park, playground and swimming pool, and I used to play games with them. I also used to play video games. I studied civil engineering in college, and I was not very happy with the teaching because the subjects was outdated and easy. But even though the subject was outdated and easy, I used to find it very hard to score good marks in my exam because I was addicted to smartphone.
friends like Candy Crush and PUBG, and so in order to score good marks in my exams and get rid of my gaming addiction, I uninstalled all these gaming apps in my cell phone. Later, after I graduated from my college, there was a lockdown due to Corona, and I had to stay at home, and I was unable to meet my friends and talk to them. So I started using social media like Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. I used to follow some random friends and their friends, and instead of focusing on my own problems. so I uninstalled this social media app. Nowadays I use only those apps which will help me in improve my personal growth. I work as a civil engineer in a construction company. There I make the best use of Google Sheets to maintain the attendance of laborers and records of material purchase for construction purpose. I use Google Drive to store valuable information and documents. I am a very foodie person. I would like to travel different places across Bangalore and taste different food of different culture, like Mexican pizza, American burger, Chinese noodles, Italian pastas, and many North Indian dishes and South Indian dishes. I do not use food delivery app like Swiggy and Zomato, but instead I would like to go to restaurants and hotel and freshly cook food when I'm hungry. I eat them. Once in every weekdays, I drink fresh fruit juice. Coconut water and watermelon juice. Helps me stay fresh and healthy. I'm passionate about going to gym, doing yoga and meditation. Since I'm very busy at my work, I stopped going to gym, but I practice doing yoga and meditation, which helps me maintain my work-life balance. I joined Toastmasters after attending a speechcraft program, where I improved my communication skill, evaluation skill, and public speaking skill. In Toastmasters, I'm able to meet new people and exchange my ideas and information with them. I believe by coming to Toastmasters and giving speeches every weekdays and getting evaluated will gradually make me a better speaker one day. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Suhas. I would require your guidance to delete certain apps on my phone. So, with that, we come to the end of our first session. Guys, what do we give to these four brilliant speakers? This is specifically for Toastmasters. The voting link is open. Please take 10 seconds. The password is ACCORD. 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 Please vote for the best icebreaker speech. Have you done? Say yay or nay. The password is accord, ACCORD. Cool. With that, we come to the closing of the first session, prepared speeches. We will take a 5-minute break and we'll come back at 7:26 sharp. Please take 5 minutes. Thank you. Please take your seats. Wasn't that a really buzzy networking break?
Yes.
You guys had fun?
Yes.
I didn't hear that.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. That's the right tone, Abhishek. Now that we're done with prepared speeches, it's time for the table topic session, or how I would like to call it, so you think you can dance. The table topic master for today is a friend of mine from like 4 years. It was watching her stories on WhatsApp of the Toastmasters during the COVID period, which literally inspired me to come and join this group here today. Put your hands together for the table topic master of today, Toastmaster Varsha.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aditya. Before we start off with the session, I would like one of my panelists, Rajdeep sir, to join me on stage towards my left hand side. Meanwhile, let me introduce to you as to what the table topic session is all about. Table topic is as simple as traveling on a cable car. Now, while horses require stable, maths requires tables, we require material for a conversation, and that material would be the topic that I give or the situation that I give. So how would you handle it with an opposite person sitting here is up to you. So this helps you think on your feet, and this is nothing complicated because it is something that you face on a day-to-day basis. So without further ado, telling each of the participants. So in every situation there would be in every situation that would be given to begin with, there would be two people, one of which will be Rajdeep sir. The opponent person will see whether it's going to be a tango, raw mango, or bingo towards the end. So here is the first topic. Okay.
So I'm the first table. Okay, I'll be.
Yes, sir. So the first topic or the situation is wife's voice is pathetic, not at all presentable. Husband insisted her to sing at a party. She kept singing and people kept leaving. Now both the husband and wife are upset. To take this ahead, let me call upon Toastmaster Vijay Karpundri on stage. Rajdeep as husband, Vijay Karpundri as wife. So your wife, Vijay, is here?
Right.
Yes.
Oh, darling. Nice you sang. So nice.
Sir, no wonder. On the stage also I'm standing on the right. In life also I'm right.
I'm so happy, they all, the guests left, because the same thing was the problem with our tenants. Remember, they're not leaving our house and you sang, and all those tenants who hadn't left, so they also left. All the stray dogs there, they also left. So, very good, very good. Keep it up, keep it up. I mean, not keep it up, whatever. Keep it going.
So, I am responsible. You remember you told me the other day that I only ordered food for 500 people and there are 600 people. How to manage? So this is what I sang.
Darling, why don't you sing for the audience? Let's see. I just called to say I love you to Varsha. Means whoever. Correct? Or each go. Then I don't have a problem.
I want the tabletop to continue. Okay.
Please, okay. Whom do you want to sing to, darling? Please. Sing to Surekha, ma'am. No, it's some she will at least rhyme with you and all that. Whom? Sing.
So it is too much. Okay? It is too much. Okay. I sang only
Don't
once.
do much. Do to tango.
No, I cannot make tabletop session only one. Like they cannot have only one table. After this also it should continue, no?
One is fun, darling.
But
we have only one child.
But 2 is to tango. So
2 is to tango. हम दो हमारे नो. So keep singing, darling. Come one song, just one song. At least one song. Correct, Ranu? Aati ka khandala. But last one line you say.
no, I cannot. Like my throat has gone so now after singing for that audience, no. It has gone so.
Where is the throat is gone longer? Okay.
All right. Thank you, Vijay, but we would definitely love to hear you, at least post the meeting.
No, why should I be?
Now,
So I go or I have to stay?
so please. We have 2-3 more situations. So the next situation is parents missing PTM, parents teacher meeting. Mommy had read the message and signed the diary. Daddy had got a WhatsApp message. Both have missed it. Now, in the role of the wife, we have Toastmaster Joe Sponsor on stage.
I'm the father.
Yes, you are the father. Joe Sponsor is the mother.
Who got the one?
Who got the what?
The mother.
Father got the WhatsApp message. Mother has signed the diary. Both of them were aware that there is a meeting, but both have missed it.
So now we have to.
Yes, fine. Both are equally responsible for missing the meeting. Yes.
Now, I thought you should have told me about it. When you got the message, I just signed the diary and.
You've always been doing this from the time you got married. You're so stupid. You signed the diary. Whose legal proof it is? That's why I told you don't sign the marriage certificate also. I got caught for the rest of my life because of that. Now that son is getting caught because you are signing all these diaries and not going. What is this WhatsApp? WhatsApp is all crap.
No, then you shouldn't have been on WhatsApp.
No, I am on WhatsApp, but you are physically signing. Mrs. Josie?
No, because
and now you are acting so cozy.
No, that's something so that's what I
I'm
had to
sorry.
say.
You sign. You will be accused of forgery if you deny that sign. I didn't see the WhatsApp also. There's no blue tick also.
Come on, this is what happens. This is what happens always. I take up the responsibility of signing when you fail to do that.
Because you are the responsible character. I'm irresponsible, foolish. That's why I got married to you.
I have bottom up.
You are bottom up. Oh. No wonder those teachers keep calling us every day.
No, I think it's up to you to show some responsibility.
Darling, how will you will settle this matter? We both will go to the teacher and we will tell that our son is only the culprit. He signed the job. Don't you think that's good? You brought him up, no?
No, I think it's better that you do coaching on this because I think you are a great coach.
Yeah, absolutely, I'm a great coach, but the person who signs is you're a signatory. You're a signature legend. Thanks.
Well, this was based on real life situation. My parents had missed my parents teachers meeting, and hence I got this idea. So the next topic would be husband forgets to wish mother-in-law on her birthday but wishes the neighbor Anjali. To take this topic forward, we have Toastmaster Vijay Anand. Can we have Toastmaster Vijay Anand? Rajdeep sir is the husband. Vijay Anand. You forget your mother-in-law's birthday, but you wish you wish it's your
Neighbor.
Yeah. Neighbor is Anjali. You wish her.
Darling, no, I wish Anjali because she's the one who's keeping marriage together. If not for Anjali, we would have been in the courts. That's the reason I wish Anjali. I'm sure you'll understand.
Hey, you're the wife, yeah.
forget my mother done Kanyadan and then you want Anjali?
You know, Anjali did Premdan.
What Premdan?
She loves us so much.
Because of traitors like you, India's population is 1.3 billion.
She was the one who made us both meet. Your
Me?
mother brought you to earth, but the one who got us together was Anju darling. She's so cute, don't you know? Baby, how much she did for her. Every Karma Chauth, she's the one who comes and gives you all that plate to wish me.
No, I'm not
off my head.
People like you, India is suffering. The institution of marriage is suffering.
India is suffering because of your mother. India is suffering because of your mother. She's not a mother-in-law, she's my mother outlaw. All the time she keeps screaming. How do you think I remember her birthday? But think of Anju darling.
Because of people who don't respect in-laws, we have outlaws.
Correct. Your mother. How much?
You're admitting you're an outlaw.
How much? Your mother.
Audience,
did she get us married because of that? See, don't behave like your mother now. Okay. Don't behave like your mother. Just let your mother keep shouting at me. That's fine. I know behind every successful man there is a woman and a surprised mother-in-law. Correct? And that's why your mother keeps saying, how did he actually summit? How did he actually summit? I'm not going to be sure. But look at that. How sweet. How
The
nice.
only time he speaks is because of Anjali. At home, he never speaks. Anjali is making him speak. And this is the problem. You're admitting your mistakes.
I see, whenever I see Anjali, I have jelly feet. Okay, what?
Jelly feet?
And when I see you,
what do you have?
I think of your mother.
Oh my God, this is the most sick thing I've heard.
But that's why India is facing problems.
Are we done?
Thank you.
Hey, enough, yeah, Varsha.
Last. Now here's the situation. Gym instructor gives 10 tasks and leaves. The client keeps working only on 10% of the tasks. Now he is asking for the refund as he hasn't worked out.
Repeat. I'm not understanding.
Gym instructor gives 10 tasks a day. The client would be working only on 10% of it. Now the client is complaining that he is not reduced by an inch and he wants a refund. Now to take this topic ahead, we have, you're the gym instructor. We have Toastmaster Ankit on stage, please.
I came to you a month back thinking I would be in the gym all the time, I'd be working in, but since then I've used only 10% of your equipment and I have been working out of the gym. So if you're a kind person and you want to grow your business through my referrals, I want a refund of I am one of your loyal customers who really believe that you can change people's lives by refunding money.
I tell you one thing, every day I give you 10 tasks. You go do one task. After that I see you outside eating goli vada pav, you're becoming a pav.
Sir, I really
After that you eat butter masala dosa. And I've heard from that masala dosa fellow that every day you say, I want to increase 1 inch. One day the diameter is 8 inch, next day 9 inch. So how will your waste reduce? You tell
Sir, I really thought you would be better than my manager.
No.
He also gives me 10 tasks a day. I just do one. But you know what he does, sir? He just gives me good advices like going to your gym. And just like
So
my manager.
what you do, take the refund from your manager. Better go to him. You are eating pav bhaji, you are eating masala dosa, you are eating butter chicken, and you want me to become a murga chicken over here?
Sir, I think I paid you more than I paid you extra money to give me advices on my diet as well.
What I am telling you, do some 10 push-ups now only. Do 10 push-ups now only, then I will decide whether to refund 1% of your fee. I am telling you to do 10 push-ups, you do 1 push-up.
Sir,
I tell you to sit on that stage
Sir,
cycle for 10 minutes. You sit on 1 minute and all that thing. Those
With due respect, on the first day you said there will be a giant gender diversity in the gym. But the day I joined, sir.
Oh, you better go to some other places. You have come to the wrong place. Such a dirty fellow. He wants to go to see
And that is why is exploding. And that is why we don't want people like you. Around your James, sir, please.
But you know why? I want people like you because once people see you, they feel like okay, there is gender diversity of different categories. Okay, whatever it is. So please, continue in the gym. Don't worry. Stop eating masala dosa. Stop eating pav bhaji. Start eating what is that? Herbal juice. Drinking herbal juice. You'll be okay.
Sir, for all these advices, I have my dietitian. For the gym, I with due respect.
With due respect, you
Please, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please don't make a David Topic master next time.
Now, me being a salesperson, it wouldn't be fun if we are not having hard sell topics, and hence I've just included about 2-3 hard sell topics. Now I'd like two Toastmasters to come on stage, Toastmaster Abhay and Toastmaster Surekha ma'am. Now there's only one guest lecturer required for a speech craft session. While Surekha ma'am is imposing on a fact that opening body conclusion is important, Abhay just says get to the point. Surekha ma'am for opening body conclusion, Abhay get to the point. It's up to Hannah to decide who she wants for the guest lecture on the speech craft session. Can I have Toastmaster Surekha ma'am? Both of them will have 1 minute each and later 30 seconds to conclude. 30 seconds each.
Choose for and against.
Opening body conclusion, get to the point.
Opening body conclusion is important, just like B, C, and D. B is for birth, D is for death, and C is for the choices you make. How are you going to make those choices if you don't know where to start and where to end? You need to fill all that space in between with meaningful stuff. And you need to have a beginning, an origin, a source from where you have arrived, and sometimes it could lead to the evolution of your consciousness. That's the transition that we are supposed to be making every moment of your life. Making fresh choices that will lead you ahead and ahead on your journey of evolution. So that because you're not a rat, if you're a rat, you would live with the same consciousness. But you're a human being and you've got to grow.
Definitely, I fully agree with you, ma'am. And that's why we need, in the journey from opening body and conclusion, we need to make a point. And if you do not make a point, what's the point? Like Dr. Nasib says, if you have a PowerPoint, what's the use of a PowerPoint if there is no power in your point? And like you said, the person has to start running from A, B, and C, and D. No matter if you are in the rat race, even if you win, you will still be a rat. So definitely you have to make a point, and that's why getting to the point is important before you learn to do your opening body and conclusion.
I get your point, but till you get to the end, you can't make your point. To reach to the end, you have to have a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Correct.
Otherwise, you become pointless, just like a pencil that needs a point.
We always have a sharpener, man, for a point.
Yes, but there are erasers too, to rub on everything. And that is when you make the right choices.
Ma'am, we do one thing. We'll have first half session, make a point, and then we'll go for opening body conclusion.
That was a perfect blend which contributed to the team. It takes two to tango. Now, the next one, there's an event. There is an event where there's a ramp walk and we need a promotional poster. So, is it going to be Sari Sudha or is it going to be Jumpsuit Jamita? Is it going to be Sari Sudha or is it going to be Jumpsuit Jamita? Now, Sari Sudha would be Ratan Shetty, Jumpsuit Jamita would be Ajit Chandrasekhar. Jumpsuit Jamita, Sari Sudha. You guys are fighting each other to make it to the promotional poster.
We have to debate on the theme.
Why is it that you want sari on the poster, or why is it that you want jumpsuit on the poster?
So sari is something about tradition, right? is nothing more fashionable than tradition. Tradition is so important.
Absolutely.
Tradition is where you are from, your origin.
But for a fashion show, if you have a saree show, people will go to Pothys, they will not come to this.
But when you're talking about an Indian audience, you know, what resonates the most with an Indian audience? We are not in US or in London where we talk about jumpsuits.
Indian audience needs a choice. That's why we need jumpsuits. They need a choice.
Yeah, that choice was needed 50 years back when the British had just left the country. But now all that is all classy. Now, being traditional is so what do you call it? Trying thing actually.
People die for jumpsuit.
They die when they are in the jumpsuit. Jumpsuit is good, no doubt, but sari is tradition.
Sari is tradition, I agree.
Yeah, that's
So
what.
for a fashion
I'm saying.
event, it's such a big event.
Yes.
You find all mixed type of crowd coming over there.
Yes.
You need a
But
jumpsuit.
all that crowd that is coming is all Indian.
That's
There are no foreigners. And there is nothing.
You don't need
more
foreigners in a
Indian than the
jumpsuit.
saris.
The best you'll bring out with Indians is when they are in a jumpsuit. You have to, having an event in a jumpsuit will bring the best out of the event. So you get more crowds.
Yeah, I agree with you. We'll go with jumpsuit.
I agree with you.
So great, there was a conclusion. So in the next magazine, we'll see the cover with a lady on a, wearing a jumpsuit. The next topic, men are needing an energy booster. So we'll have Shashank Bhatt and Abhirama. So Shashank says boost is the secret for any source of energy, while Abhirama debates it's going to be Red Bull. So we'll see which one's. Shashank for boost, Abhirama is going to endorse Red Bull.
Let's give kids the first option.
So, as you saw, people who prefer Red Bull, they try to stay in the background. But what happens when we drink Boost? Even though I'm 30, I still drink Boost every day. Because that's the source of my invisible energy. Now you can look at me and say, what energy will this thing I have? But again, people who drink Boost will get to know that it's not just physical energy that we have, but it's the strength, mental strength, which is more required than the actual physical strength. You can drink Red Bull and fly. What else can happen if you drink Red Bull? But this Boost has some advantage over it.
I don't think drinking Red Bull will make you fly. You said Boost will improve your intelligence.
Yes.
Is that really true?
Absolutely.
So how
Like
do
example
you
here.
back Boost when you were kids?
Answer wisely because it tests your intelligence now.
Rashi, do you agree?
Are you intelligent or no? Yes. See? You got that.
Yeah, she hopes.
I hope for it.
Yeah, so see, the question is not about intelligence. The question is, a booster, right? What gives you that energy booster? I would definitely say Red Bull. See, it's not just in the drink. It's the psyche. If you go and say Red Bull to a man, he'll become a bull. If you say Boost, he will go back and become a kid. Boost signifies childhood. Red Bull signifies manhood. That's what it is.
I want you to try that with
So it's
someone
in the
else.
psyche.
I want you to try with someone here. Just say Red Bull and let us see.
They will after the meeting.
Do you think it's inappropriate now?
No, not really.
Prove it.
So, as I said, both these drinks, I would not recommend that you drink Boost or Red Bull. It's not that, right? It's about the brand that has been created. The question is what boosts your energy. I would say neither of them boost your energy. It's about the good food that you eat and the healthy drinks that you take. That is what boosts your energy. Both Boost and Red Bull are not going to do any good for you, right?
In conclusion, if you are with family, drink Boost with milk.
If you're with friends, drink Red Bull with, you know what.
That was a perfect blend again. Now next, it's a random quote which was created by a philosopher. I'm not going to reveal the name now, but to take this topic ahead, can I have Toastmaster Puneet Surana on stage if he's around? Yes. It takes 2 to tango, but 3 to tangle in a triangle.
Oh my God. One of the most beautiful moments that got me hooked to tango was a scene where a blind man was with his son and on a date at a restaurant. And in the middle of the food, the man says, you know what, we should tango, the music is perfect. So he asked his son to take him to the center of the restaurant. There's a huge open area with some really nice keyboard music being played live. And the girl was a little hesitant. So he took her by the hand, along with the son, guided him to the center of the open area, and he asked the son for coordinates, understood what the coordinates was, and then he asked the son to leave, he nodded, and then he was with the girl. And when he was with the girl was very nervous. And she said, I don't know, I haven't danced before at all. And said so beautifully, it's tango. If you get tangled up, we'll come back and we'll tango again. And that is what got me hooked to learn tango. One of the most beautiful dance forms on the planet. In a sense, tango is like unrequited love, adhura pyar. And the most beautiful moment I had was when I went for the first session and we had randomly been paired, and there's this girl with me, and we were in the embrace. We had the music having begun, and her eyes was they asked her to close her eyes so she can be in tune with me. And I got very nervous because I've never had a woman that's completely a stranger, and I had to lead her for the next one song. But doing that with her, with the song leading me, was beautiful. After a few tanglements, we figured out there's a vibe, and we moved, and we moved, and we moved in circles. All we did was walk, and that was the most beautiful first tango walk I ever had. I hope you all get to experience it too.
Next up, can we have Toastmaster Saru on stage, please? Your wife and you wanted a long beachside walk at the night. Both of you have forgotten the keys. You just put... Yes, you've forgotten to pick the keys. You just pull the door, the keys are inside, the hotel reception is not responding to you. How will you convince your wife to stay out for the whole night?
Okay. Now we have forgotten that. Now we can't contact you. Now what is the option? People, I forgot my wallet at home, so we can't go to the hotel also. So what is the option? Can we walk for whole night? See, we can walk. I can share you some, twinkle. I can change some points. I can show you some twinkle and change some point like twinkle, twinkle, little. And let us have some different, different kind of enjoyment in our life. We have spent so much, we have money in a hotel, in traveling, in home and everywhere. So let us have some different experience. Let us enjoy, let us stay out for whole day. And whatever money we will save, by rather than going to the hotel, I will give you some gift by that money. So, thank you.
I hope your wife got convinced and stayed with you the whole night. For one last topic, may I request Toastmaster Priyanka on stage, please. The guests are arriving in 2 hours. Mom believes in cooking while Priyanka believes in Swiggy Zomato concept. Let's see what wins.
time to enjoy every moment than spending time in the kitchen and exerting yourself. I agree it is important to welcome the guest in a very different gesture. Sometimes I know you believe in the old style of welcoming the guest where everything is prepared at home. But what is the use if you're going to get entangled in the kitchen and not give your time to the guests and assume you finish all your cooking, you're so exhausted that you can't even probably prolong your conversation with the guest because you'll be moving in and out to just serve the guest. According to me, the best option is to Swiggy. Once you understand what are the guests interested in looking for, enjoy and eat, just order the food and just party and enjoy. Because I feel every moment should be enjoyed, spent.
Well, dear Toastmasters, be it in the mountains or on the beach side, be it in the night or during the day, it's a proven fact that it takes two to tango, but the point lies in will you be able to convince? So that was the table topics. Were they relatable?
Yes.
Thank you. Back to the
How many of the people remember their version of Anjali? Anjali, the neighbor. Come on. Yeah. So, guys, did you have fun?
Yes.
Huh? Yes. Yes? And what do we do when we have fun for the table topic master? Now that fun's over, there's more fun. As I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting itself, that the evaluation session is the most important session of a Toastmasters meeting. And heading a evaluation session is our general evaluator. He's not only the GE today, but he's also my mentor. And before my mentor, he was associated with this particular Toastmasters group for 6 years. He's a brilliant speaker and he's a better evaluator. So give it up for Toastmaster Alok Simha.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aditya. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm coming here after 3 weeks. It is not long in terms of time, but somehow it seems very long. Okay, for me at least. And the first thing that struck me, I don't know it's because of not being here for 3 months, but for 3 weeks. But the first thing that struck me was the energy today. Walking into the club, I met Toastmaster Vijayana after a long time. Oh, he left already, okay. I met Vijayana for the first time after a long time, and coming in just to see the crowd and just to see an almost full house today, it's an excellent feeling. And that energy I felt was also reflected in the way the meeting was started today by our Toastmaster Sai Deepak. I don't know again if it's because I was sitting in the second row, because I generally take the last row if I'm not taking any role. But the energy was excellent. That was an excellent start to the entire meeting. I particularly liked your example or the anecdote you shared about Vinod Kamli and such, and it took us back to the 90s in cricket. So that was well done, and it correlated very well with the theme of the day. I liked particularly the word that you used, enthralling, when you started off the session. And again, if I were to give you a small suggestion, you were excellent with your choice of words, but when you use the word exciting and follow that by saying, to make the meeting more exciting, please switch off your phones and don't walk in between. I felt there was a slight mismatch. Maybe what you could have used was, let's make the meeting more engaging. That could have helped us relate more rather than say the meeting would be more exciting if you switch off your phone. So that is something that I just wanted to let you know. It's just nitpicking, but having seen you the first week and having seen you today, you have grown by leaps and bounds. Keep continuing the good work, Sai Deepak. It's exciting to see you on stage every week and the dimension to bring you into the meeting every week. Congratulations on your role today. And I felt the energy that Sai Deepak brought as the Sergeant at Arms, it rubbed off on you as well. Again, I felt it was your presence on stage and the usage of the mic, your energy, the voice, it reverberated extremely well. And the initial message that you had about Nitin Kamath, the analogy of I think sales and communication as the tango. That was extremely well done. And again, the entire message today seemed to revolve around Zero Love. So it was a very useful anecdote for all of us. My suggestion to you is, I felt there were too many messages because you spoke about modesty, you spoke about respect, you spoke about sales, you spoke about communication. Maybe channelizing that message to have a couple of key elements there would have done the trick. But then again, having watched you throughout the year, it's extremely enthralling to watch you every week. Again, look forward to more of your speeches and more of your key messages as the president of the club. Congratulations, Hannah, on stage. Moving on, like to follow the chronology, we had Toastmaster Aditya on stage as the TMOD. I believe it's the first time you're doing the role. Yeah. Okay. It's the first time you're doing that role. You had an excellent presence, amazing presence on stage, a great start, excellent energy, and a personal story about you and your father. And your passion was evident throughout the entire jig as the Toastmaster of the day. Your passion was evident in terms of your voice and the energy you carried yourself. Delivery again, great introductions and great connections as well. Now, if I were to again give you a bit of feedback, I felt you were a little rushed throughout the entire role. Maybe I'm a little rushed today as well as I reflect. But yeah, you were a little rushed throughout the role. What you could have done better is to take those little pauses, and your attempts at humor or your attempts at messages would have been well received if you had taken those pauses and allowed us to reflect on what you were saying. I felt when towards the latter half of your role, so when you introduced, say, Sureka ma'am, or when you introduced the table topic speaker, or when you came back after table topics, you were a lot more relaxed. And that smile appeared back on your face, and that smile was missing throughout the first part of your speech. So just take note of those little elements. Again, a role excellently done. I particularly liked all the little connections you made after each speech. On a role well done, congratulations to you, Toastmaster. With that, we move on to the most crucial segment, the evaluation of the individual speeches. To evaluate the first speaker, Naomi, we have Toastmaster Robinson.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone present here. And Naomi, where are you? Yeah. It was the first speech from Strategic Relationship Path. She had introduced herself, and the path required you present that basic structure of your public speech you had to learn and present it. The positive aspect which I noticed, Naomi, excellent language, excellent. No R-counter, I just checked. No grammatical mistakes. Clarity was there, language was clear, and I am sure everyone understood. Very good eye contact. Then comfort level, again, fine. You had absolute confidence, and you were moving easily on the entire whole task. You fully engaged the audience from beginning to end. For the first speech, though the gestures and body language were little, but for the first speech, they were sufficient. Apart from that, you asked questions to the audience, and you paused till the answer. Now, where you can improve a few aspects. You have to learn basic structure of a public speech. That means opening, body, and conclusion. In your presentation, I only noticed the body, opening, and conclusion were not there. You can remember Dania, who mentioned, when you stand before a mirror, what you see? And how she concluded a speech, quoting Robert Frost. The woods are lonely, dark and deep. I have promises to keep, and miles to go before our speech. What happens in a speech is, people, the audience remember the body, don't remember the body, the opening and conclusion after some time. In your presentation, they were missing, but don't worry, you are learning. It's your first speech. Besides, you are a little fast. You had 4 to 6 minutes time To present your speech, you use only 4 minutes 30 seconds, another 1.5 minutes per day. And certain missing aspect from my speech about your birthplace, where you were born. Names your siblings, your twin sister also, your twin, you did mention. Your education qualifications, where you study, the boarding school, we missed all those things. Then what's your dream in life? No doubt you are a fashion designer now. What's your dream? Where you are going to head? These aspects were missing. Then in Toastmasters, we don't say thank you at the end. You and another person also said thank you. It's for the audience. That's why they stand up to thank you. One more aspect, tell you, don't bring the copy of the speech and keep it here. People will lose interest. And for this speech, you don't require a copy. It's your own story, right from childhood till now. You didn't require, but you brought a speech, so people lose interest. In case if you want other speeches, bring small memory cards, notes cards. Otherwise, it's an excellent speech, forming very good presentation for a first speaker, for a first attempt. All the best for you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Robinson. Congratulations on your speech. I must say you're extremely lucky because you're being evaluated by someone who's probably seen hundreds of icebreakers on this very stage. I think it's indeed a special evaluation that you've got today. Moving on, for the next icebreaker, which is presented by Toastmaster Park, I request Toastmaster Richard D'Souza.
Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, and Mr. Park particularly you today ascended a great step in public speaking by giving icebreaker speech, and you met all the guidelines of speech in terms of opening, body, and conclusion. The opening, that is temptation to quit, grabbed the attention of all, and transition was very smooth. And I would like to tell about the body of your speech, which was really excellent. We were able to know your parents very well, how hardworking your dad and your mother, never to say quit. Her attitude came out very well, and your academic manners, how you scored 1 out of 50 and you improved to 100 out of 100, really marvelous. The accident which confined you to bed for 3 months, but you gained insight into the life. It was really marvelous. Your speech was full of implication, full of humor, interspersed with humor here and there. Really, it was icing on the cake. And traveling, which you did marvelously well. You were a tourist for very big cities too. That I really admired. But only 2 points which could have taken your speech to the next level was we were interested to know about your siblings. Of course, you could have told you are so lucky not to have siblings. Then, in conclusion, you told that life is uncertain, but how you would wade through the difficulties and what are your goals, how you will reach them, that would have been, made your speech still better. You will reach places in Toastmasters Partha and never succumb to the temptation of quitting. Please go ahead and you will be a great speaker like Shashank Rao. A big round of applause to Mr. Partha, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster Richard, for the encouragement. Partha, I didn't get the chance to listen to your speech the other day when I was in Speechcraft, but I got lucky today and I was able to listen to you. Excellent speech. Good luck on your journey further in Toastmasters. Moving on, we had Toastmaster Dhanya being evaluated by Toastmaster Richard.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I'm sure you'll agree with me when I say that everyone here enjoyed Toastmaster Danya's speech. Danya, your speech was truly outstanding. You had great delivery, and you used a lot of different techniques in your speech, and it goes to show how much effort you put into the speech. Now, the strong points of your speech, I'm going to list out some of your techniques. You started with a great introduction. You asked a question. When you stand in front of a mirror, what do you see? Now, this is great because it grabs people's attention and makes them stand, sit up and pay attention. Second, you had humor added in different parts of your speech. I especially like the description of your home in the old days, of your ancestral home in the old days. You said that old houses tended to have a lot of chickens, cattle, and many children. You missed it out. Third, you had great descriptions. For example, you spoke about your ancestral hometown in great detail, and we could actually picture the place. And your description of the dress that you made for your sister as well, that was great. 4, you circled back to earlier references. So towards the end of your speech, you talked again about your ancestors, your ancestral hometown, and the river, Kurumalipura, right? That brings us back to the earlier reference, and it makes the speech much richer. And 5, you ended with a quote, which is a great way of ending a speech. And it set the tone for your speech, actually, the tone for your conclusion. For I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Now, with all these techniques added in, it was difficult for me to think of suggestions for your next speech. It did not feel like a first speech. But there is one thing that I would like you to pay a little more attention to when you go on to your next speech, which is to balance out your speech a little bit. You spoke a lot about your ancestral heritage and about the formative experiences that you went through, but you didn't have as much about your life as an adult, and your journey as an adult, and your life as present. For example, you had only one line about what drives you in your work. You said you're trying to connect artisans and craftspeople to the global fashion scene, right? We would have loved to hear a little more detail about parts like these. And I know that your family also, Mr. India, would have loved to hear a little more about, perhaps what you learned as from your family, or a little bit about your journey as an adult. Danya, you spoke with confidence and poise, and you were at ease on stage. And this actually makes you a very strong speaker. You crafted your speech very well, and you weaved it all together in a great way. And that kept everyone engaged. I know that if you apply the same confidence and creativity to your next speeches, you will grow as a speaker and reach high heights. All the best for your Toastmasters today.
Thank you, Toastmaster Chaitra. Toastmaster Dhanya, I particularly like the conclusion, the poetry towards the end. And on a side note, it's wonderful to see your family here supporting you and inspiring you from the audience. Thank you, sir, and sorry for coming along. Congratulations. And for the final icebreaker of this evening, we had Toastmaster Suhas being evaluated by Toastmaster Chaitra.
fellow Toastmasters, esteemed guests, and Toastmaster Suhas in particular. Thank you, Suhas, for that great speech. And why was your speech so great? It was great because your tongue delivered the message of your heart. You spoke about you and made us feel warm and welcome in your life. Your icebreaker speech was impressive because it was not only about the sharing of information, it was the sharing of yourself that you offered all of us. There was never a dull moment in your speech. You could see everybody laughing and having lots of fun. And you also knew the validation that you got later from each one of us. So very well done on that. And in the sharing of your story, you told about your personal history. You left nothing to mystery, and that is why it was such an engaging summary. Thank you very much on that. There was a chronological sequence to your life, to the events of your life, and that is why we had no confusion at all as to how the story of your life unfolded. And to me, Suhas, you came across as a young gentleman who's constantly striving to be the highest, the truest, the noblest expression of yourself as a human being. And I'll tell you why. Because you honestly confessed that you had once fallen prey to the addictions of social media and gaming. And when you recognized that these distractions were hijacking your concentration, your focus, and kidnapping your potential, you decided to take action. And you were ready to pay that price. And what price did he pay? He paid the price through dedication and discipline, through patience and perseverance. Very well done on that. And I think that is the key message of your entire life story. Trying to be the best that you can ever be. Very well done on that. Again, you said that you joined Toastmasters in order to improve your communication and leadership skills. And I think that's where you establish an instant connect with your audience. After all, aren't we all here for the same purpose? Yes, isn't it? We're all here to grow. And you know, because of that shared vision, because we are woven by that common thread, we are in this conglomerate called Bangalore Toastmasters Club. Yes. And lastly, how you build your skill depends upon your will. You had great preparation, I know that. I checked upon you and you said, I'm preparing and I'm preparing. Yes, your eye contact was good. You had a clear beginning, a middle and an ending, beginning from your birth, right with the ending up to this very moment where you spoke about your Toastmasters journey. Very well done on that. And then I have to do some nitpicking. So one or two suggestions which would earn you many compliments. And we all love praise and admiration, don't we? Yes. Yes, we all do. Our spirits thrive on that. So if I have to give you a suggestion, I would say that if you increase the volume by a couple of notches higher, probably the one sitting in the back rows would be able to hear you more distinctly. And if you had shared some funny anecdotes from your school life or your home life, you would have been able to nail it a lot more better. Please remember that humor is a very powerful weapon to bulletproof your delivery and to battleproof your content, especially when it comes to speeches. Yes? Thank you very much. And once again, you rocked your talk all the way through to the ending. And in the news broadcast of your life, you helped us to forecast that your next speech is definitely going to be a blast. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for the evaluation. Toastmasters us, we could see that you were nervous when you came on stage, but it takes a lot of courage to know that you're nervous and still go ahead and complete what you intend to do. You completed the entire speech, and that was the best part of the entire attempt today. So congratulations, Toastmasters class, and we look forward to hearing more from you. A round of applause for the class. Moving on, the table topic session. Varsha is versatile. There's no other word to describe. The entire session was creative, had its elements of fun. We had Toastmaster Rajdeep playing the husband sometimes, playing the wife sometimes, and still doing it with equal elan. And that was the first element that was there as part of the table topic session. The second session again was craftily done. I think kudos to the topics, but kudos to the way it was handled. We had all three pairs of table topic speakers who came here arriving at an amicable solution for all the three topics. So that was extremely well done. I like that about the second segment. Now, just a bit of feedback, Varsha. Probably the first session, I don't know if the instructions to Rajdeep sir were passed on to be the facilitator. I felt the speakers were overawed by his wit and his fluency when it came on stage. So he could have played the role of a facilitator more and allowed the speakers. So maybe that message could have been passed on, or he could have discussed that. Apart from that, like I mentioned earlier, it was extremely creative and fun. It's nice to see that you come up with extremely interesting ideas for table topics that breaks the monotony. Congratulations and well done on the session today, this evening. Moving on to the 3 to tango of the day, the tag team, we had the timer, Toastmaster Abhinandan. Please go ahead with your report for the day.
Yeah, so the role takers, Sergeant at Arms, President, Toastmaster of the day, they were all the Sergeant at Arms and President were within time. Toastmaster of the day exceeded by around 2 minutes 45 seconds. All the speakers were within their time limits. All the table topic speakers were also within the time limits, as were the evaluators. Over to you.
Thank you for the report, Toastmaster Abhinandan. Just a small suggestion. When you initially read out your role, you could have probably displayed the cards, saying, at the 4th minute, I display the green card, yellow card. Just a small suggestion for your next day. Moving on, we had the R counter, Toastmaster Abhijit.
Since the FIFA fever is on, I would like to categorize the speakers as center forwards who were flawless in their speaking skills, and who use minimal clutch words, I would categorize as midfielders. So center forwards were Vijay Anand, Toastmaster Ankit, Toastmaster Surekha, Toastmaster Hannah, Toastmaster Abhay, and Toastmaster Puneet. The midfielders were Toastmaster Razi, Toastmaster Ajit, Toastmaster Shashank, Toastmaster Abhirama, and Toastmaster Dev. Thank you
for the creatively done R counter report, Abhijit. Moving on, we have the grammarian.
So some of the good phrases that were used in today's meeting were whispered through the drama, win a plethora of admirers, traveling is like flirting with life, and falling prey to social media, story of your life unfolded, and there were not a lot of bad usage of grammar, but 1 or 2 would be practice doing yoga could just be practicing yoga, and dying thing could be said as something to die for. The word of the day was used by Toastmaster Neo. Thank you. And Toastmaster.
Thank you for the report, Toastmaster Ravi. Just a couple of suggestions. Maybe we could have the meaning of the word written along with the word on the blackboard here, because we'll use the word, but we tend to remember it a lot more if it's written there. And a suggestion to our dear TMOD, last but not the least is a very dangerous phrase to use. It could so easily be least but not the last. And I think you could put it succinctly saying finally. That's just a suggestion when you introduce the grammarian. So that's with a start. With that, I come to the conclusion of the evaluation session. Just a little bit of a duty before that. Please evaluate, please fill in the voting forms. The password is the card. You'll have 10 seconds. With that, thanks a lot everyone for listening to me for the last half an hour, and thanks to the committee for the opportunity. It's back to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Alok, for your kind and informative words. We really enjoyed the evaluation session, right? Yes. And what do we do for the general evaluator? With that, my time on stage comes to an end. I hope you guys had a brilliant and enjoyable meeting. Time to hand it back to President Hannah.
Thank you so much, Aditya, Toastmaster Aditya, for stringing the meeting so beautifully well. I would request us to please give him a huge round of applause. A couple of announcements. 16th of December is our elections. So the nominations will be open. The committee is formed and they will send out the form to open the nominations this week. So I request people who are interested, members who are interested, please nominate themselves. And 16th elections, as well as we have a guest talk from Professor Venkateshwaran. He's from the Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. So that will be a 40-minute session, and every second will be well worth it. So all guests can also please, you're welcome. Now for the awards. The Best Evaluator Award goes to Toastmaster Sureka. The Best Auxiliary Role Taker Award goes to Toastmaster Abhijit Naik. The Best Role Taker Award goes to Toastmaster Aditya Srivastava. The Best Speaker Award goes to Toastmaster Danya. There's a tie for the Best Speaker Award. It's shared by also, guess who?
Okay.
Toastmaster Suhas. And the Best Speaker Award goes to DTM Dr. Rajdeep Manwani. That comes to the end of meeting number 135152. I adjourn meeting number 1352. Thank you so much for coming in, and I hope it was well worth your time. Thank you. Sureka has snacks. Please don't forget to have the snacks.
Bro.